Hello and welcome to the cryptocurrency news channel. Today I'm actually going to say my opinion on where you should buy in and buy if you're interested in altcoins, and we're going to do some of the major altcoins plus VeChain because a lot of us are interested in VeChain. I'm going to go for dollar values mainly this time. Last time I did Satoshi values, although for a couple of coins I will do Satoshi values, but we're going to say dollar values for many of the big altcoins and where I think I would buy in. Once again, not financial advice, but just where I would actually buy in based on the movements of the last, several weeks, months, and where I see and what I've read on news and where a good buy-in point is. So let's actually start with Ethereum. Ethereum, I would actually buy in under 200. From what I've seen, it can oscillate easily to 230, but it usually doesn't go too far below 200. However, it does follow Bitcoin for the most part. So if Bitcoin goes to 9,000, it will fall significantly below 200. But if Bitcoin, I think, will stop around maybe 10,500 and falling, I think it might fall to like 194, 195. But the thing is with that, Bitcoin will bounce back up, and then Ethereum will bounce back up as well, and it could bounce back up as far as 230 or 220, which we actually have seen fairly recently. So under 200 is where I would actually buy in for Ethereum. XRP, I can do both USD value and BTC value. We can just look closer at XRP. USD value, like right now, is not a bad time to buy in. If you really want to go for the stretch, I would say 29.5 cents is a very good, is actually a pretty good place to buy in. 29.5 cents. We know that XRP has a bottom of around 29, maybe 28.5 if you get really lucky, and it does not seem to want to drop past that, and it has not for the last 9 months or so. So if someone is floating it up at around 28, 29 cents, it's a very strong bottom. And I don't think you're going to get, unless Bitcoin like completely tanks, I do not think XRP will actually tank past that point. So 28.5 cents, 29 cents, or actually 29.5 cents is a good buy in place for XRP. And if you're interested in swing trading XRP, I would say like 31.5 or 32 cents is actually a sell point for XRP, because what I've observed is when it goes past that price, it always tends to retrace back to that price. And when Bitcoin actually tanks, even though it gains in BTC value, in terms of USD value, it almost always tanks back to 30 cents or even 29 cents. So I would say 29.5 is a good buy point for XRP, and about 31.5 or 32 is a good sell point for XRP in terms of USD value for swing trading. Now, buy-in value for BTC, I would say right now it gets lower and lower. So I would say 25.60 is actually a pretty good buy-in value for XRP. I know the last time it actually went as low as 24.90, but I'm not really sure like how long it will take to get to that again. And I think like between 25.30 and 25.60 is a pretty good buy-in point for in terms of Satoshi value for XRP. So that's my opinion on XRP, looking at the ranges that we've gone through. But it is getting lower and lower according to BTC. Litecoin, I would say buy-in value about $70. This is quite a bit lower than it is right now. But Litecoin, the halving is over, and it actually has been on a downward trend since then. It has not tanked like after the last halving. And I've seen many analysts, or at least 2 or 3 analysts, say about their wave theory that Litecoin will actually dump to $70, possibly slightly less, before it reverses on an upward trajectory. I don't know if it'll reverse on an upward trajectory. The leak recently with Charlie Lee and the foundation's communication signaling that there's very little Litecoin development worries me. But I would say $70, which is significantly lower than where it is right now, could be a dab point where you can buy back into Litecoin for some profits. If you are actually into Litecoin. Many people still believe Litecoin is the future. I don't know about that. I still think it's on a downward trajectory right now, which makes me wonder why I'm still holding it at times. But $70 might be a decent buy point for Litecoin. In terms of BNB, BNB is really hard to gauge. I mean, I would buy under 25 for BNB. It's kind of useless for Satoshi value. It does kind of dip when Bitcoin dips, and every time there's an IEO, it kind of comes back up. Binance.us has people excited. I don't really know how that's going to go. If they manage to list BNB coin on Binance.us and make it like not a security, I would say BNB is actually going to go up if that happens, but that's kind of a stretch because Binance Coin acts so much like a security, and the way they buy back and burn to increase the price acts like a security as well. BNB is really hard, but I would probably buy in under $25, and then I might sell when it gets like $30 for a very nice, almost 20% gain. That's my view on BNB. Not going to deal with EOS and SV. EOS, I still think downward trajectory. I just wouldn't touch SV. Stellar, I honestly just would not buy right now. I have no idea where the bottom is for Stellar. There is some rumors of an IBM thing coming up, but who knows with Stellar. I have very little information on Stellar. In terms of Tron, I think around 2 cents, 1.9 cents is a decent buy. Justin Sun is trying to work on US compliance, but it's a real gamble on Tron because Binance US is not considering Tron right now for listing, and they don't have a US exchange. And the thing is, you can stake Tron, and that provides some problems. But I think the main problem for Tron is Justin Sun himself. He's been hyping this stuff up so much that regulators are not likely to look kindly upon what Justin Sun is doing. So if you're going to buy at 1.9 cents is where I would say look towards, because a lot of times it bounces up towards 2 or 2.1 after it gets to 1.9. Cardano, look at 5 cents, I would say. It does move up and down, and Shelly, Gongguan are around the corner. I do believe they will actually launch this time. I would say 5 cents is a decent buy-in spot. I might wait until September to buy in though, because it might drop throughout August overall. Tezos, if you are really into Tezos, I would say $1.25 is kind of like a midpoint for buying for Tezos. But for me, if I'm greedy, and I am, I'm going to wait for $1 to buy into Tezos. But $1 might never come. But I would actually wait. For me, I'm going to wait to see if I can get $1 for Tezos. But $1.25 would be kind of like an okay buy-in place for Tezos, in my opinion. Unless the entire market tanks, then none of these predictions actually really matter. Let's go down to VET now. VET is very hard to gauge. I think VET, in terms of, it's kind of really a gamble with VET. Do you think Binance.us is going to list VeChain or not? If Binance.us announces that they're going to list VeChain, the price will pump up and you're going to regret not buying VeChain. But right now, I would definitely try to buy around 0.48 cents, 0.0048. Seems to be bouncing around that region, but if Bitcoin dips, the USD value of VET is going to dip. In terms of Satoshi value to buy in, I would say 40 to 41. I've seen it down around that much, maybe 42, slightly lower than the 43 value it is right now. But a lot of this depends on Binance.us. If Binance.us does not decide to list it or delays or something, we can see this go all the way down to about 30 Satoshi, I believe. But if Binance US does list it, we could easily see it rise up to 50 or 60 very quickly. So it depends on your gauge. Based on those two conditions, I would say right now or around 40 Satoshi is actually not a bad place to buy into VET. It's fairly cheap. It's got the partnerships, and I think once a US exchange actually decides to list it, it's actually going to come up. So I would say around 40 Satoshi or 0.0048 cents. So very close to the price it's actually right now. The last one I'm going to do is QNT or Quant, because I know some of you are invested in Quant, and hopefully you bought a lot lower. You bought a lot lower than the $15 maximum. Right now, I'm actually waiting for Quant to drop below $5, mostly for Quant to drop below $4 before I actually buy. And a lot of you are saying that I'm going to miss the boat, but when I said I'm going to at least wait for Quant to drop below $10, a lot of you said I was going to miss the boat then. But when I look at Quant and I look at the volume, it's still dropping. And even though this high was pretty encouraging, it looks like it's actually dipping down past this low. So I still think it's on the way down. It doesn't show any resurgence in terms of this kind of volume. And if you remember, back here, it was $2.12 before it really started coming up back in May. So even if I'm buying it at $4, I'm buying it at twice that value. And at $4, there's still a risk of it dropping even further. So that's why I'm actually willing to wait until $4. What do I think for Quant's future? I think Quant can optimistically break $100 in the future, even in the coming bull run. So if that's true, buying at 7 would be great, but I could buy more at 4. Of course, I risk just losing the farm at 4 if it never reaches 4. But I'm willing to take that risk right now because of when I look at the volume, it's just not there right now. And this recent dip has actually kind of surpassed the past dip in terms of like low price. So I still think is actually going down. I still think the Bitcoin ratio is going down. I still think the USD ratio is still going down. But if Bitcoin rises, Quant will actually rise. But I'm waiting for about $4 on Quant. I think a lot of people say that's like too low, and I respect that opinion, but I'm willing to take that risk to buy more at $4 or possibly less. And I'll keep you updated on my Quant figures. And I'm going to keep that projection as long as Quant is still QNT is still losing volume. So the volume indicator is very important to me for QNT. So that is where I think you should buy in at various coins. A couple of them I said the sellout price as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you and have a nice day.